Newzroom Afrika Sholwana joins us now live from a voting station in Vosloorus, Ekurhuleni. Zola, good morning and thank you for joining us. Are you seeing any numbers of people flooding in to come and register to vote at that particular voting station this morning?
Well, Kat, all I can tell you is that, the numbers are quite low today. We are seeing those one or two people making their way to, registration centers here in Vosloorus. And this has raised, a number of concerns to political parties that are here to, encourage especially young people to register to vote. But it could also be that some have opted for an option of, registering to vote online. Now, Katlaho, what I can also tell you is that we are at a location where an incident, or rather a shooting incident, allegedly took place yesterday. You'd understand that the Democratic Alliance in Gauteng released a statement raising concerns about, signs of intimidation. That's how they referred to an incident that happened here and to another one that transpired in Soweto. But we are joined by, the EFF structure to basically tell us about what exactly, transpired yesterday. There were also allegations that the person that was seen on a video that has been circulating on social media is an EFF member, but obviously they will get to, speak more about that. So thank you very much for your time. If you could perhaps tell us about what you know about the incident that has been circulating on social media.
Well, thank you very much for having us, and greetings to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. My name is Dunga, the provincial chairperson of the EFF in Gauteng. One is that we do not condone any form of violence as the economic freedom fighters, nor do we accept, the discharging or the dislodging of a firearm in a public space and a public area, more especially in areas particularly around the management of IEC, because one would recognize it as an intimidation of some sort, and that's the highest level of treason that one can engage in terms of an activity, particularly when we're engaged in a program of ensuring that people are registered and that they genuinely participate in a democratic society. As the EFF, we have most of our times given instruction to our structures and our members, as well as our supporters to a certain extent, in terms of the do's and don'ts as we head towards the election period. And one of them is to be extremely cordial in society, to respect society, and to adhere to the basic principles and the laws of this country. Now, what we do know here is that there was some alleged video that has been circulated of someone seen to be firing a couple of gunshots in and around the vicinity of the Peter Mugaba VD in Ward 64, which is the area that we're at now. We're yet to ascertain as to whether was this a illegal or illegal firearm. Was it a genuine firearm, or was it an air gun of some sort? We don't know. We're not in a position to give those facts at this moment, and we're purely going to rely on the South African Police Services to then engage in an investigation to ensure that they do their thorough investigations in terms of checking and to check the legality of the gun, if it indeed it is an ammunition. So that's where we are, and that's where we're at this moment.
So there's also been allegations that the person that was seen firing shots is a member of the EFF. If you could maybe touch on that.
Yeah, the Economic Freedom Fighters has a lot of membership. In actual fact, you would know that we engaged in a process of 1 million membership, and we have over 2 million voters of the Economic Freedom Fighters in the previous elections. And therefore, our pool of people who would want to associate with the EFF are that huge, It's still something that we obviously going to check as to what is the status of the alleged perpetrator who has discharged a firearm which is against the Firearm Controls Act in South Africa. And once we have ascertained and are fine with the fact that indeed this particular person is a member of the EFF, and then all processes must then be engaged in terms of is the case being opened, and he must then thoroughly account to the organization for his ill conduct in society.
Now, has, the incident that transpired yesterday perhaps affected, the voter turnout today? How is the atmosphere?
The atmosphere is still jovial in the area. Obviously, there's a very few or very low participation in terms of voter registration across the entire country. I think just in Ekurhuleni yesterday we had about 38,000 interaction or so with people either registering as new voters or changing their addresses or doing verification. That is just direct visit to the voting districts across the city of Ekurhuleni, and that tells you that this is a very poor turnout, and as the economic freedom fighters, we try by all means to go out into society. Our teams are out doing door-to-door, calling out people, particularly the young and the youth of this country and of Ekurhuleni and Gauteng, to actually come out in their abundance to come and register to vote, because they are in the main the least represented in our voters' roll. But in terms of that aspect of intimidation, we have not sensed it in society, we have not sensed it in the areas around, and we must also acknowledge the failure of the government of the day, in terms of firearm control, because this is one area where there are gunshots and people act normal, like they act like it's not something that they are not used to. Because they are used to continuous gunshots in the area. They are used to being mugged. The rate of crime in Ward 64 particularly is at an extreme high. There is no police station, there is no police visibility, particularly at this end. And the nearest police station that you would find from here would be the one in Zonke, which at times does not even operate at 24 hours. They can't be reached. They do not have the necessary tools of trade, such as vehicles to run around. So our people have learned to accept an abnormality in terms of the level of crime and the sound of gunshots, and actually many of them being subjected to violent deaths as a result of gunshots.
Thank you very much for your time, sir. Now, Katlaho, we, like he has just mentioned, that we are aware the shooting incident happened yesterday. And if I had to tell you, well, the voter turnout, like he had mentioned, is not that great in all other, stations that we have gone to. You spend 2 hours in one station and just see one person walk in. And but obviously, to confirm all of that will be the IEC when they release the actual stats. As you'd understand that last year in November, they had received over 500,000 new registered voters, and now we will find out if the number has topped up the figures that we presented last year. Back to you in studio.